Welcome to the world of probiotic foods. This is Cultured Food Life with your host, Donna Schwenk.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me. And we're going to talk about fermented foods for stomach problems. This is one of my most common success stories I have from people on my website and from myself too. Whether they've even got any kind of stomach distress, whether you've got food poisoning or, a stomach virus or just stomach distress of some kind where they're throwing up or anything like that. Cultured vegetables and the juice. The vegetables work too, but most people don't want to eat vegetables when they're sick or throwing up. But the juice is one of the most powerful things you can take that can stop it dead in its tracks, and it is fast. And when I first started sharing this remedy with my friends, I was overwhelmed with how much it was helping them. And it was really one of the big reasons that I decided to write a book, start a blog, start a website, because I just felt like people needed to know that there were remedies out there that could really help them. Because there isn't anything that really helps you when you're throwing up a lot or have food poisoning or have stomach distress from a virus. Nothing really on the market. There really isn't anything on the market for you. But just like a tiny spoonful of the juice of this, and there's documented evidence to why this works fast and quickly. And it's kind of amazing. It's one of the reasons I always keep a jar of cultured vegetables in my fridge. Well, I have several jars of cultured vegetables all the time in my fridge because I found nothing that's more effective than this. And it was the very thing that convinced me once and for all to really keep these foods stocked in my fridge, to learn more about them and understand why this was happening. So most of your immune system, they say between 70 to 80%, some people say 80, some people say 70% of the immune system is located in the digestive system. And the large majority of the body's immune cells are located in the digestive tract. And these immune cells are assisted by the probiotic microorganisms that live in there. They are very powerful microbes, and they can recognize the presence of a pathogen immediately and stimulate the body to initiate an immune response to fight off threats and to attack these harmful invaders. Now, certain strains of probiotics support our immune system by killing these disease-causing pathogens, and they do it with this antimicrobial substance that they produce called bacteriocins. And they help to eliminate these pathogens from the body quickly. And having a lot of healthy microbes is really important because good bacteria helps us to eliminate harmful or pathogenic bacteria and viruses by outcompeting these harmful microbes for food and other resources. So basically, the good bacteria that resides in your gut, which is 78% of your immune system, eats all the food that the pathogens want, and so then they die. And the more good bacteria you have, and there's other mechanisms that the bacteria does too, but that's one of their tactics on how to kill these pathogens. They also can attack them with T cells and things like that. But the more good microbes you have, the harder it is for these types of things to take resonance and take hold in your gut and have them cause a lot of harm. So let me talk to you about the cultured vegetables. They are so effective when dealing with these stomach problems. And I've been doing this 22 years, and they just never cease to amaze me. I've used them hundreds of times to help people and friends and family, even my dogs. They have powerful good bacteria, lactobacilli, plantarum, which is abundant in cultured vegetables, which is a very powerful force against any foreign invader that's trying to attack your body. This particular bacteria was isolated from the traditional African fermented food called Ben Salga. I could be saying that wrong, so I apologize if I'm saying it right. And they tested it for inhibition of food poisoning and pathogenic bacteria. And Lactobacillus plantarum was completely eliminated. Things like E. coli, Salmonella, all different kinds of pathogenic things within a 48-hour incubation period. And it did it quickly and fast. And another study that was done on this powerful bacteria that was found in kimchi and the antibacterial activities against food poisoning that cause bacteria were extremely effective using this culture that had lactobacilli and a tarominate that has antibacterial effects and was clearly observed doing that by all the ones that they tested in the labs in their work. So, and it's interesting that this particular bacteria, this good bacteria that kills pathogens, is a transient bacteria. It doesn't live in the body very long. So it's in the body for a few days and then it exits the body, I think, after 5 days. So it does steal any kind of food that the harmful bacteria are trying to live on. It attracts them to their side of the fence. They try to gather them in and act like they're allies, and then they kill and destroy them. So I have seen this happen so many times. It has just been nothing short of miraculous to watch. One of the first times it happened to me, we had food poisoning. And, one time my son had a stomach virus, and when they take just a spoonful, it was like injecting some kind of magic tonic that works so quickly. It shocked me. I just didn't believe it was doing it, but it's happened so many times and to so many people that just sips of this juice can really stop these stomach cramps or diarrhea or mostly vomiting a lot. It really stops that. And it does it quickly. And I've personally seen it knock out food poisoning in me in like 20 minutes when my other family were just laying in bed still moaning. And it is fast and effective. And it's an amazing thing to watch. And the first time I ever made cultured foods, it was a long time ago. I made a jar, and I stuck them in the fridge. And then I forgot about them. I didn't even eat them. I just left them in the fridge. And one thing you need to know, cultured vegetables can last 9 months in your fridge, perfectly preserved, because the good bacteria are so strong in those vegetables, they dominate and keep out pathogens. So they were in my fridge, and a few weeks later, I had some bad artichoke dip at a restaurant. My whole family did, and I found myself with food poisoning, and it was bad food poisoning. I remember feeling delirious, and I was laying in bed, and I was kind of coming in and out of sleep. I dreamed about chickens. I don't remember why. I thought, what in the world am I dreaming about chickens for? And then I remembered that week earlier, I had read an article about how cultured vegetables had helped defeat the bird flu in chickens. So I remember that article. I think it was 9 out of 11 chickens. Not only did it not kill them, they survived and became healthy again. So I was thinking about that. So I dragged myself to the kitchen, and I was so sick. I was hanging onto the walls to get to the kitchen. Found that jar of cultured vegetables in the back of my fridge. I opened the jar and just took a swig of the jar of the juice because I was too tired to go across the kitchen to get a spoon. And I put it back in the fridge. And in less than an hour, I was up doing dishes. I could not believe how different I felt. And from that day to this, I keep a jar of cultured vegetables in my fridge. I gave them to my family. The same thing happened to them. And it just became a really strong point in my life where I realized there was something more. I had already started kefir. Cultured vegetables was either the second or third cultured food I had tried. Might have been kombucha, but I can't remember now. But I remember that there was something to these foods that I needed to be go into and study more, because they were doing things that I didn't know food could do. And kefir had done some miraculous things for my daughter, myself. It helped so many things that we were struggling with. I had high blood pressure. It helped lower that. It helped my diabetes to go away. It helped my daughter with gluten allergies and food allergies and IBS. It helped my infant. She just started thriving when she wasn't doing as well. And that was just kefir. And then I tried cultured vegetables. And when they did this, I was just, okay, something's going on here that I don't really understand, but I'm going to find out about it. And I get a lot of emails about it. I get a lot of testimonies about it. And let me read you this one that was on my Facebook page. And she said, Donna, out of desperation for my son, who was throwing up all night until 7 the next evening, I Googled remedies for a tummy bug. I don't like over-the-counter medicines, and a suggestion was to give fermented juice, so I did. Try telling your sick son to drink kimchi juice with a straight face, and it might make you feel better. But he did drink it, and within a few minutes, he went back to normal. The next day, I researched more about fermented foods, and then I realized that I had one of your books, Cultured Food for Life, and I bought it for the ideas of milk, kefir, and kombucha. I opened up the book again and read it from cover to cover with a pen and paper to take notes. I loved it so much that I ordered Cultured Food in a Jar, your third book. And just as we were leaving to go out for pizza, the book came in the mail. So I took it along to check it out while we were waiting on our food. And oh my goodness, I read small bits of it to my boys and husbands. And to make a long story short, we now have fermented veggies in the fridge and new ones sitting out fermenting all the time. I'm sorry your story started out rough, but I'm thankful that it did, and I'm thankful that you've shared it. God bless you and your family. Side note, I now have Cultured Food for Health, my second book, on my bookshelf too. So, oh wait, this keeps going, sorry. It has worked exactly like this for my family, she said. Thanks to the knowledge you shared, stopped my husband's terrible food poisoning in literally 30 minutes, astounded all of us, and made a firm believer out of him. It stopped my daughter's stomach distress, or was it a virus, within an hour as well. And the best part is that my teenagers wouldn't touch it at first, but now they've all started taking it without me telling them because they've seen how it works. And they are starting to give it to their friends when their friends are sick too. Here's another testimony that said, Donna, this story rescued me from a pretty horrible bout with shellfish poisoning. I woke up around 2 and spent the next few hours in the bathroom. Then I remember the story, and I went to the fridge and dipped directly from my jar of cultured veggies, and I was feeling human again in just a few minutes. So those are just a few of the many, many, many emails I get and testimonies. And I keep some of these on my Lives Touched page of how these vegetables work. And you just got to make some for yourself. You don't have to believe me right now. And then when you need them, they'll be there because they last like 9 months in your fridge. Then you'll take them because you'll feel desperate and you'll start eating them and you'll see how effective they are. And then you'll believe me. It's so amazing that I love this part. I love this part where you don't believe me because you think it's whatever, just a bunch of jumbo. But then you try it and then it works. And then I get an email from you. So, and I have told my husband this many times when I started eating cultured foods. Resistance is futile. He's going to succumb to it anyway because my good bacteria is all around everybody all the time. And when you share a home with somebody, you share your microbes with them. And whether he liked it or not, he was getting a lot of the good microbes from me. So these veggies will convince all of you one day if you try it. But you got to have a jar in your fridge. And it will just make a believer out of you. And you got to remember, though, you got to remember the juice works too. The juice is just as effective as the veggies. And let me share with you some of the recipes I have, and I'm going to link this in the description below of some of the recipes I use. I have an apple kraut, which is apples and cabbage, which is really delicious and makes a really good kind of a tart kraut, but it has an apple flavor to it that's wonderful. One of my very favorite krauts is blueberry spinach. It tastes like a mouthful of blueberries when you do it. It's one of my kids' favorites because it tastes like blueberries, but it's got kraut in it. I have dill pickles. Dill pickles, the juice I have used many times. I use this on my son when he had some kind of stomach bug and he was throwing up all night. And I went over to his house and gave him some, and I said, "You'll be up watching TV this evening if you take this in small sips." And sure enough, he was. And it was just the brine from the pickle juice, and they're crispy and they're delicious, and I love these pickles. If you've ever had Bubby's pickles, which by the way are fermented, and you get them at health food stores in the refrigerated section, they taste a lot like that. They're fabulous, and Bubby's pickles is great too. You can use the brine from that too. If you're desperate and don't have any fermented vegetables, they have good bacteria in them too, just not as many, as the homemade, but they still do have quite a bit. I have a flu prevention cultured veggies that I absolutely love. It's got all kinds of stuff. It's a little spicy, a little sweet, a little sour. It's got jicama and carrots and cabbage and apples, and it's just got a ton of stuff in it that is a really good flavor that's fun to make and is really good for you. I have golden beet sauerkraut, which I love, which is, if you ever had golden beets, they taste like sunshine, and they make a wonderful kraut. And this is all the recipes I'm going to link below. I have a gut juice recipe that is just basically half the jar is brine and the other half is veggies. So you have a lot of brine. And you can do this with any cultured vegetable if you want more brine than you do the vegetables, because they're both the same strength. They give you the same benefits. So it's called gut juice, and I'll link that too. Jicama, if you're sickama, is one of my very favorite and most popular recipes. If you don't know what jicama is, they call it a Mexican potato. It's kind of sweet and crunchy and white. And what I do with this one in this recipe, and I used to sell these in a health food store. And I decided after a few months I didn't want to be in the food business selling products because it just took all day long and I couldn't stop making them. It was ridiculous. So then I just decided to give everybody the recipe because we kept selling out in the stores and I couldn't keep up. But it's basically jicama cut into sticks, and kids love these, with orange juice and orange zest, and then they ferment. And jicama is one of the most powerful prebiotic foods there is. It has a ton of prebiotics and for your microbes in your gut. So not only are you getting lots of probiotics, you're getting a lot of prebiotics with it too. And then there's a kimchi I've got several kimchi recipes that I like, but this might be a little strong for you if you're sick, but it does work if you just have the juice. I have an orangeade kraut, which is oranges and cabbage that is wonderfully delicious. One of my more popular recipes and one that I make at my classes. Everybody makes and takes a jar home. And then Shelley's cultured vegetable, which is loaded with special minerals, prebiotics, and has all kinds of wonderful flavors in it. And that is one of my husband's favorite cultured vegetable recipes. I mean, he begs me to make those. So anyway, those are some of my recipes. I'll link the description below. Give them a try, get a jar, put them in your fridge. They last a very, very long time, and they have special powers that can help you when you're in need. So I hope you give it a try. And if you do, drop me an email. Let me know how it works for you because I love those emails. They're my favorite part of my day. So you guys have a good one, and we will see you next week. And as always, thanks for listening.